Okay, so we have the distinct superpower of working with Jason, Danilo, and myself. We work at a company called Venue, which, to those of you who don't know, Venue started a few years ago doing sort of commercial SaaS for video conferencing, but we have gone through several sort of migrations, mutations in the interim, and we've landed on the supernatural next step of helping tattoo artists book tattoos. So you can draw a pretty direct line. So we realized, as you can see from, if you've seen Jason, myself, or Danilo, you can see that we are natural candidates for a tattoo booking app. We knew very little about the tattoo industry, and now we know slightly more than very little about the tattoo industry. And we've gone through a lot of iterations in the product about helping artists do what they want to do. So we know our sort of guiding star, which is that artists want their lives to be easier. We know they have a lot of complexities on their time anyways. We know they want people in seats, but we know they don't want all the faff required to do it. So there are things we have focused on already that include like helping them book time, helping them find clients, trying to make it easier. But one thing that we haven't moved on very much so far is that we're mostly focused on custom tattoos. This is something I never knew the distinction of, but like, I guess a custom tattoo, you suggest a theme to an artist and they work with you on a design. But a perfectly common way of getting tattoos is to just pick a flash design from an artist. So if you go to Venue now, if you're all aspiring tattoo artists, you go to Venue now, you set up an account, you're gonna find that there's not much to help you schedule your flash books. So we thought that we would use the modest amount of time we had today to try to, we know we want to add flash bookings to the platform. We're not quite sure what form it'll take yet, but one thing that we found is that artists will often do, this is like an Instagram story, I think. I don't really use Instagram as a story. Okay, so this is an Instagram story uploaded by an artist, and you can see like one thing they'll often do for their flash designs is they'll just take a photo of a piece of paper they've drawn 15 designs on. They don't want the difficulty of having to slice that up. There are a lot of artists who will do their designs digitally, and they don't mind slicing it up into individual pieces for us to be able to sell the flash individually, or, because the other thing we sidetrack, some flash can only be drawn once, some of it can be drawn an infinite number of times, or inked once or inked an infinite number of times. So we want to be able to slice it up and make inventory out of it. They don't necessarily want to do that. So we were like, can we make their life easier? Can we slice up the image they gave us? There's is AI adjacent in that we're using sort of the machine learning technique of object detection. It's super sexy, I think, in that it's 3 or more decades old, but it's pretty tried and tested. It can find things in frames. It's really good that way. We'd never done this before, so we were like, let's throw some images in. Let's try to get a library. Let's try to pull out coordinates so we can slice it up. As you can see, there's some complexity involved. We did not get anywhere close to a mature product today, but we wanted to give an example of what we might do. They upload, you pick, let's say, like, there are thresholds that define how granular it's going to be, and as you play with the threshold, you can see that for different drawings, different levels will come up with different boundaries. So we wanted to see how that behaved for various images. I want to show you what it's actually, when it's slicing it up, it's going through a bunch of pre-processing stages, and it's basically just chewing on the data, turning it into these high contrast blocks. It's doing those things. And so we found that, for instance, for many of our designs, this will probably work as an initial pass. Not included here is like the ability of artists to sort of refine the boundaries as they export them. We found that there are still sheets today that will not work well. This is a sheet where it just got really, really confused. So we'll have to figure out ways of refining it. The agent aspect of this is non-existent. There is no agent, but there is ML, so I'm gonna give us, partial marks. All right, that's it. Any questions? Any questions about tattooing? Sorry?
When's JC getting his first tattoo?
Yeah, it's an open conversation. Yeah. You said you wanted daggers on each sheet.
That's right. You have to earn those. So when you say somebody can sell Flash, is that like an image that is allowed to be tagged? Is that like some form of?
I mean, Flash is, I guess, a reference to any pre-drawn image the artist has done, but it feels like some of them are unique Flash. Like they're like, I'm only going to ever ink this on one person, and then it's gone. And some of them are like, yeah, you can flip through my book, and I'll use this as many times as is needed.
And can Flash be sold between tattoo artists or only within a tattoo? Like,
I mean, you're asking great questions that I will almost certainly give wrong answers to, but like I feel like it's in the style of the artist. It's almost never inked by anybody other than the artist that we drew it. So cool.
How do you protect that IP?
So far, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's not really been an issue. The artists are pretty happy, like they share their work pretty readily. It's a very good community that way, and there isn't, people do imitate each other, and I guess that's problematic, but not in a sense where it's like we don't have to NFT it or anything. There's not going to be any problem of co-ownership of the design. So, yeah.
What are you using for the object detection?
Yeah, so we're bringing in OpenCV. I guess OpenCV is a computer vision library. I found out about this for the first time today. There are lots of roads, it seems like. So I was also investigating whether we could do stuff with there are some TensorFlow models. These are all things that could be run entirely in the browser, which is kind of cool. And we haven't even cracked the can of like, well, if we have a server environment, like there are lots more models that we could run. We were again looking for like the most stock approach as V1. All right.
All right. Thanks, Marc. Definitely my favorite one.